Yes, yes, UFC fans, MMA fans, we're going to have to be able to have this discussion about John Jones and his resume. As of right now, he has officially retired from the sport of MMA and obviously from the UFC, relinquishing his undisputed heavyweight championship belt and has finally relinquished the depth defying grip that he's been having over this division, really holding up every single type of bout to be able to move forward in the heavyweight division. Now, just going to give an overall review of pretty much what he got done. And it's just really, man, like, it's just sad, dude. Like, one of the greatest, if you want to be able to call him one of the greatest fighters of all time. I mean, look at the resume, look at the names, absolutely astonishing. But there's definitely a lot of things to be able to nitpick about John Jones, obviously, off and out of the cage. There's a lot of things to be able to question about his morals and his uh, really principles and what the fuck goes on in his mind and what he actually thinks is a good thing to do and what is not. But really, I think this seeps into his career of the UFC. I mean, ever since after the fight that he had with Dominic Reyes, that's when he, I believe, after that fight, he took his hiatus after decided to not to be able to continue on fighting, wanted to move up to heavyweight, had so many talks about going up to heavyweight and getting the heavyweight championship and then going against Francis Ngannou. That never happened, and obviously that ship has sailed to where it's nowhere near to be able to be a thing that's going to be able to come into fruition. And if it is, it's going to be too old, out of prime, out of shape heavyweight dudes that are pretty much going to be looking at each other and not giving us that type of explosivity that we really wanted it in due time when should have been got booked and should have happened already. And while John Jones being on the books and trying to be able to put on weight and make sure that he has the right muscle to be able to fight in the heavyweight division, um, he goes in and fights in a guy like Cyril Gahn. And while he's going against Cyril Gahn, there's a lot of people, especially myself, thinking that Cyril Gahn has a great chance to be able to get a victory over him. That being willing, if he has any type of takedown defense or any type of grappling acumen. A lot of people look at it with a side eye and it's like, like maybe this could have been something that could have been rigged. Listen, the way that I look at it, either that fight was rigged or Cyril Gahn's grappling, like, he does no grappling. Like, the technique is completely atrocious. It was very easy to be able to get out of this crouching, like, guillotine that John Jones put him into, and Cyril Gahn literally did nothing, handed him the victory and the belt very, very easily. And that fight was actually booked on short notice, if I was remembering that correctly. It was like on a 4 week notice for Cyril Gahn to get into his camp to be able to really know what they're getting themselves into, even though they're already knowing that John Jones is pretty, good with the striking, but is a tremendous grappler, and that's the antithesis of Cyril Gahn was, and that's the hole that he needs to be able to fill up so that it wouldn't get exposed, and it absolutely did. Neither here or there if it actually came to fruition that Gahn gave away the belt for John Jones is not up to me, but it's definitely something that is very questionable. And then right after that, I mean, this was before the Tom Aspinall thing is starting to shoot and flare up back. I think this is when when this time is coming around, he finally already came back. He had his comeback KO victory over Marcin Tybura, and they have booked Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska in the co-main event for the light heavyweight belt that I believe was vacant. Or yeah, it was vacant and it was up in arms because Jamal Hill recently just let it go, And then you have John Jones and Stipe Miocic booked for MSG as the main event. And, people are not really talking a lot about it because, Stipe's been out for quite some time. But then again, there's no real other contender or no other name, legacy name for John Jones to be able to go after. So it's just a fight that everybody's kind of like, about. Like, yeah, we're getting John Jones. He's getting back active. He's getting back in the octagon. He's probably going to run rampant through heavyweight and, do the thing that he has been doing through the light heavyweight division. And he gets injured. While he gets injured, takes about a year off. And then that's when the Tom Aspinall talks and everything starts to be able to come into fruition. And because then he gets bumped up to like co-main, and him and Sergey Pavlovich have a interim title heavyweight belt championship going on, and Tom Aspinall gets the KO over against Sergey Pavlovich. And while all these things are happening, and slowly but surely momentum is starting to swing under Tom Aspinall, now he's interim heavyweight champ, but John Jones is still calling for the Stipe Miocic matchup. He still wants that. He wants that. A legacy name. Yes, John Jones. Being 38, 37 years old, wanting a 40-year-old Stipe Miocic who's been out of the octagon for like 3-4 years at this time. Last time out, he got severely, badly KO'd by Francis Ngannou, who after that fight fought against Gane, and then after that fight he pretty much just left the UFC high and dry. And man, it's still fighting and pushing hard, and with time just coming more and more to fruition. And then you get Tom Aspinall defending the belt and calling out John Jones and asking to be able to just unify the division and actually have things go that it's supposed to normally go. And John Jones still is not with it at all, and it's just frustrating because it's one of the best matchups to be able to make in the UFC. One of the best matchups in heavyweight division. That's something that I called for this year to be able to happen. That, again, should have happened last year, should happen this year, but it's never going to happen because John Jones doesn't want to do it. And while John Jones, albeit maybe you can say, he has the right to be able to say if he doesn't want to fight this dude or fight that guy or whatever the case may be, you're the undisputed heavyweight champion, dude. Have a nutsack if you are a man, and be able to unify the division first before you're able to have any other legacy names and fights on your resume. Nobody's going to go back to John Jones' resume and then say, oh, yeah, he beat Stipe Miocic. That was such a great win when he went up to heavyweight. This is a Stipe, again, in his 40s, long overdue being in the octagon. And last time he was in there, he got flatlined KO, leaving his goddamn knee collapsed behind him. It was a nasty-looking one. And, dude, like, again, the pressure is just starting to mount more and more and more on John. And throughout all the BS that's going throughout his way, he gets his way, gets the Stipe matchup, easily defeats him how we expect him to go down, even though it goes a little bit longer than what we expected it to go. But he gets the job done. And instead of calling out Tom after in the post-fight presser, instead of going and say, I'm going to unify the division and then that's it, or I'm going to retire, I'm going to do this or that, he continues on holding the belt and saying, we're going to get the matchup that everybody wants to be able to get. And then he goes into the press fight conference and then talks with all these reporters and then talks about, well, the fight with Alex Pereira is a really great fight to be able to go through. He's a great name. Look at the things that he's been doing in the UFC and MMA. And it's like, brother, come on, dude. We know why you want to fight Alex Pereira. Let's keep it G100. Let's keep it a buck, John Jones. You know that Alex Pereira is a tremendous kickboxer with great power, but his wrestling acumen is word for wear, and his takedown defense, especially against a bigger dude, is something that you're definitely going to be able to take advantage of. That's why you wanted to fight somebody like an Alex Pereira. Big money fight, big name. But again, you still have Tom Aspinall as the interim heavyweight champion. and you had Tom Aspinall, as you see pictured above, pop up on John Jones and actually asks for a face-off. And while he's asking for a face-off, John's like, "No, man, come on, man. Like, come on, bro. We're not going to do this right now." But then other UFC heavyweights come up to him and they get a face-off and they're super way low down the rankings and it's not even an issue. And then it goes into a thing where John hasn't even fought this entire year, that being 2025, obviously. Duh, if you're watching this video and you're 2025, he's, whatever. Anyways, yeah, he hasn't fought this entire year. Nothing has been going on in the heavyweight division. It's literally been a stalemate because he's backing everything up. And more pressure is just mounting on Dana, mounting on you, the UFC, mounting on John Jones. People are calling and they're having petitions to be able to have him removed as a UFC heavyweight champion, which is well due, 100%. Because, I mean, dude, if you're not going to be able to go out there and defend your championship belt, especially against a dude that holds the interim title, what are you doing? You're literally just being there to just have attention on yourself because really at the end of the day, that's what John Jones wants. Goes off and does a thing where he's on the Russian fighter thing that they're doing over there, the Ultimate Fighter that they're going and doing over there in Thailand, doing seminars, hanging around dudes, acting very sus, very John Jones X. And then like the final straw is like he's on a interview with like one of the Nelk boys and they ask him about the Tom Aspinall fight and he immediately lives after it. It's like, brother, it's clear as day. You don't want to fight him. You say all these things on social media. You say that Tom Aspinall is just hype. Tom Aspinall is the literal antidote to John Jones and making him not be undefeated anymore. Him with his wrestling acumen, his BJJ background, him being a bigger dude and actually fit for the heavyweight division, having the fast hands and feet that he has with his boxing. It's an absolute nightmare matchup for John Jones, and I understand why, as he didn't want to be able to face Tom Aspinall 100%. It wouldn't be able to work out for him really in all. If the fight were to happen, I would have favored Tom Aspinall to knock John Jones out in probably the second or first round, and fairly easily. John has looked very plotty, looks very oafy as a heavyweight, doesn't have any type of spring into his movements. He's really just pretty much a more skilled heavyweight, pretty much. That's essentially what he is. With the striking, he can still do things here and there. He's still John Jones and whatnot. His ring IQ, his fight IQ is tremendous, but at the end of the day, John Jones has a great resume, but I believe he tarnished it. He tarnished it with blatantly, and this is without question. Everybody knows this. This is not something that is secret. Blatantly ducking Tom Aspinall, not wanting to have the fight, saying yes to the fight, having all the money and all the things that you want to be able to have in terms of the money that you want, the venue you want, the time you want, whenever to be able to do it at what time, and then just pulling out of it, saying, I don't want to fight him anymore, and then just retiring. It is what it is, dude. While John Jones is a great fighter, at the same time, yes, he's in an older stage of age. His ego won't allow him to be able to lose a fight, but at the same time, it wants to be able to test your glory. You're older in your age. You can be able to do what you want. Understandably so. But you had your literal seamless way to be able to sail off in your career, to be able to stay on top of the throne or put on the new guy. It's simple as. And he didn't want to be able to do that and deal with what outcome is going to be coming out of that. So I think John Jones is a coward. I think he definitely tarnishes his resume. Nobody is going to really care about his heavyweight run at all. I mean, like, dude, old man Stipe Miocic damn near looks like he's walking with a limp, like he needs a goddamn cane out there. Like, he needs to be able to be wheelchaired to the octagon to fight this dude. I wonder how much money that they had in their wheelbarrow to dump at Stipe to be able to get him out of essentially retirement. That's what he was in. He was in retirement, and bring him back in for one fight to send him off once again. And the UFC did Stipe dirty when not doing anything with his retirement, knowing that he was going to retire after that fight. That was pretty poor by them. But what do you expect, especially now with the UFC and how they've been running business lately? It seems like they could care less about what's going on with their actual legends and dudes that's been putting everything out there on the line for them as a company. Uh, but again, like I said earlier, nobody's going to be caring about his heavyweight run. He beat Cyril Gane, who already lost to Francis Ngannou, which I do think in that fight he actually should have won, but it is what it is. And as well as beating old man Stipe Miocic. Good on him. Good on him. That will always be an asterisk with John Jones is not fighting Francis Ngannou, and obviously 100% ducking Tom Aspinall. Like this video if you obviously like this video. Comment your opinions on what you think about John Jones. Do you think he's still the GOAT? Do you think he's the GOAT regardless if he ducked Tom Aspinall and actually ducked real good comp? Or you just think that it is what it is? You don't care. You still think that you're ready to jump on John Jones' nuts regardless of whatever goes on. To each his own. And subscribe. I mean, obviously you're here for a reason. You like this, and I know you like this, and I like you for liking this. So let's continue on liking each other for liking the same stuff. Thank you guys again for watching again, and peace.